The food service, hospitality, and retail industries are evolving in ways you've never heard of until now. Hosted by global industry technovator Rob Grimes and powered by the IFBTA, TechBytes is your go-to podcast, putting technology innovation and trends on the menu.
Well, here we are again. It seems like the annual conversation that I have with Marcus Viscidi, who is the Vice President of Sales for Food Service Events. And welcome back to TechBytes and another fall kickoff, if we want to look at it that way.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Great to be here.
So, we were originally going to talk about FSTEC, which we certainly is near and dear to both of our hearts, having worked together on it for quite a while. But you know what? It's really a sort of a portfolio and kickoff of a number of events that hit the fall and the budget season and everything. So what is it? It's FSTEC, Create, GRLC.
Correct. So FSTEC is September 15th through the 17th in Gaylord, Florida, and Orlando. That event audience is going to be comprised of, the top 500 to 750 restaurant chains by unit count, really focusing on IT, ops, finance, and marketing decision makers. We have Create, which is October 14th through the 16th in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. And that event is really focused exclusively on emerging restaurant chains. And the way that we kind of classify emerging is anybody with 10 to 200 locations. And then finally,
that's a big
17th,
spread, by the way.
Yes, it's exciting.
There you go.
And then finally, November 17th through the 19th in Barcelona, Spain, is our Global Restaurant Leadership Conference, which is an international version of our domestic show, Restaurant Leadership Conference.
And I'm going to guess that even though the target audiences and the people that attend, as well as exhibit and sponsor, may be different between some with overlap, that technology is probably a theme that runs through all of them.
Correct. Technology is the overarching theme at all of these events. FSTEC is really where you meet and talk with the buyers, the doers, the implementers. Create is more of like founders, owner operators who are looking to get to that next level. So how do I go from 30 stores to 100 stores? And those technology decisions that they're making at the store level are profound, right? So do we implement a new point of sale system? Do we upgrade our loyalty and marketing? So those ones are really looking to buy products that get them to the next level. And then obviously Global Restaurant Leadership Conference. I mean, this event is geared exclusively for global restaurant chains, the McDonald's, the Inspire brands, the Shake Shacks of the world. And their technology needs are vastly different than somebody who owns 30 stores. So it's very interesting to see all these different brand sizes and their different needs at their different life cycles as a company.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've been to all three, and I continue to go to all three, and I find it actually very interesting when you take a look at even the technologies and how the presentations and how people are talking about them. There are certainly common aspects, right, but there are different needs and requirements depending upon which segment you're in, and not everybody can go to everything, right, and there's certainly a lot, and people are thinking about next year. So they pick and choose, but the good news here is that it really is a theme that runs through all three.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, regardless of the size of your brand, regardless of the complexity of your tech stack, it seems as if brands really want to do three things, right? Does my technology improve my frontline employees' experience? Okay, their day-to-day from getting into the store, setting up, operating the restaurant. Does it improve my customer experience, right? Is it frictionless? Is it consumer friendly? Is it something that's personalized for me? And then ultimately, does it improve the profitability of that unit? So everybody really is looking to solve those three things. The size, the scale, the solutions obviously are different based upon who you are and where you're at as a company. But that overarching theme of three things does seem prevalent at all of these events.
Well, it's interesting because we've had a number of people on the TechBytes podcast this year, and we always talk about what are the buzzwords going to be for the year. And you've actually hit two of the three, and you didn't say the other one, which is great, but I'm sure we'll talk about it. But, frictionless and personalization are certainly, at the top of the list, that are out there because of all the connecting, sides between customers, stakeholders, entrepreneurs, all the different groups. And boy, that international complexity, that goes in there. A brand can go international with one unit.
Yeah.
And so even though they may show up at Crate, maybe they're not going to GRLC. I mean, they got to be thinking that way when they get started.
Yeah, well, that's really why we started the Global Restaurant Leadership Conference. I mean, here domestically, it's about $1 trillion market, and we did a little bit of a research project with our data and research partner, Technomic, and globally, food service is about a $3.5 trillion business, and 9.5 billion people 24/7, 365 wake up hungry every day. So whether you own 10 stores in Bethesda, Maryland, and you have dreams to go to 1,000 globally, or you operate 1,000 stores globally today. It is a big world of food out there, and technology lies at the center.
Well, everybody eats.
Everybody eats.
I can't tell you they all, they don't all go to hotels, although they all sleep,
Yep.
but they all eat one way or the other.
They all eat one
and
way or
even with
another.
foods coming into the house from restaurants and things that are there, and the online ordering and the technology really goes. So let's, focus on some of the tech aspects that are there. And we'll focus on FSTEC, because that is where a lot of the tech is, where it's showcased, where it starts, where you see the new innovation, and then it filters. If it's a point of entry, let's call it that, and then it filters to the other places. So what are the key themes we're going to see at FSTEC this year?
Well, you can't start talking about a technology conference in 2025.
I'm getting my drinking glass out. Go ahead.
You can't start talking about a technology conference in 2025 without bringing up the elephant in the room, which is artificial intelligence. AI has been infused, from FSTech 2024 to 2025. Exponentially, right? It is in our consumer lives with the chat GPTs and the Anthropics and the Claudes. And it is now coming into our professional lives within the restaurant space. And, the thing that I see with artificial intelligence and how it's being implemented at brands is that it is not at this stage to replace the human element. It is to maximize and accentuate the human element. It is allow, frontline employees to essentially run a business and not really focus on some of the mundane tasks like inventory management, like creating weekly schedules. So we're seeing a lot of artificial intelligence solutions from across the board, from point of sale providers, loyalty and marketing, payment solutions, frontline labor training systems. So it's very exciting to see the innovation happening in real time.
Well, obviously, and even if you go to the FSTech website, it's the first bullet point,
Yes.
that you're going to see when you look at the program. But in reality, we start to see a lot of the technology providers just have it embedded. But to your point, it's not necessarily there to replace, it's there to enhance. But also, as Create would show and some of the other events that you do would show, food service operators are finding new places for operations and new partnerships.
Yep.
And if you're going to expand, you also need to have it out there, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. We're seeing, I think like a K-shaped recovery in the restaurant industry, right? So we're still at $1 trillion sales. The industry is still growing nominally year over year, but some brands are excelling, some brands are doing really well, and some brands are faltering. And I think it's the brands that are leaning into tech, that are enabling a better frontline employee experience, enabling that kind of omni-channel customer experience, right? So sending out very personalized, targeted messages to customers to drive more same-store frequency and sales. But there are other laggard brands that are not as forward-thinking, future-focused, that are falling behind in this market.
There are legacy brands, just like there's legacy technology, but you also get startup brands that lead the way because they don't have that, technology deficit, that they have to deal with, so they can just start fresh.
Yep.
But you do bring up a point. In the industry today, we see a lot of people focused on cost control, maintaining, their margins. They're still opening up new units, but they're carefully evaluating what's out there. I'm going to guess that has an impact on all the events, that you get actually a higher quality, more interested and connected and engaged attendee. It's not about the volume of people, but it's the people who are really engaged and interested.
Correct. Yeah, it's a perfect point, Rob. what we're seeing with events and in general is that they're very efficient, right? It is a very easy way for you to go to one place at one time and see all of your potential vendors, all of your existing partners, as well as, network and, spend time with your peers. The quality is very strong for FS Tech 2025, as well as all of our events. And it's an opportunity for you to get in front of engaged buyers, folks that are actually looking at solutions for their 2026 budgets. And it comes at a very good time of the year because it's usually before the fiscals close out and last final decisions are being
Oh,
made.
it's a great time of the year. It's also before companies have their annual meetings in the
Correct.
fall to decide what they're doing, right? So technology is a big investment, and it's part of the strategy of many companies. And so doing something in mid-September
Yeah.
is right at the kickoff of the season where people are making those decisions, what projects they're going to do for the following year.
Correct. Yeah. And there's a lot of projects on the board right now. Everybody's looking at everything, and it's important for you to get that one last real important in-person touch point to engage with engaged buyers.
And that is actually what it's about. That there are many choices in conferences and shows, but it is about engagement. But the touch point in person,
Yeah.
not just with the suppliers, but with also birds of a feather, so to speak, or your
Yeah.
nests that you have that brings together people with common interest to share information. It's always better to do that in person, so they get to do that, compare notes, and have a good time, network, good educational sessions, and visit the floor and meet with you and me as well.
Yeah, well, and go to the IFBTA party. So I don't
There
know
you go.
the exact
You made the
specifics,
play.
but I know everyone's going to be there. Yeah, no,
The
listen,
celebration of technology.
listen, this is an in-person business, right? This is not, pharmaceuticals. This is not real estate. This is a very collegial industry. People like to get together. They like to congregate with their tribe, with their community, with their people. Do business and have some fun.
So you get out in the industry a lot and you talk, I always follow your posts and things, and you're posting interesting things from other people and you post your own observations.
Sure.
And I'm sort of curious that based upon your perspective on the industry, talking with so many operators and so many suppliers, what is it that you personally are looking forward to seeing, perhaps at FS Tech or at Create or at Global Restaurant? What are you looking forward to learning more about yourself?
In the short term, I'm looking to see, new product releases, right? What are the new things that people have in the pipeline? What are the new things in development? But long term, I really want to see the restaurant hospitality industry reach its true potential, right? I think this is a fabulous business. I think that restaurants and hospitality is one of the really true last meritocracies in business, okay? You have countless stories of people starting as a frontline employee who work their way up to general manager, district manager, vice president, COO. It's so prevalent. And I think that, the rush of technology, the infusion of technology over the last 5 years coming out of COVID has been amazing. But it has also been a little bit messy. And I think what we are going to see in the next 5 years is a seamless integration of all of these things so that the front of house, the back of house, the consumer experience, all is working together to ensure that this is a better experience, both for the business, the profitability, for the frontline employee who aspires to one day be a COO, and consumers who are always consistently delighted by a restaurant experience. So
Well, I
that's
think that
kind of
you're
the long
bringing,
term.
well, you are bringing up a number of good points here that, the definition of technology is changing too.
Yes.
And, one of the things I found very interesting at RLC earlier this year, and
Yeah.
I know you were behind this, was starting to see more connected kitchen equipment.
Yeah.
And I spoke to the guys, for instance, at an Eco Lab, and they're coming to FS Tech. And we're
Correct.
starting to see people you just never would have thought with in a connected environment,
Yep.
because their devices are connected, whether it's a drink dispensing or a Heinz machine or whatever it is, they're all connected. And then on top of it, you have food tech itself.
Yeah.
So are you starting to see some of that perhaps coming out in the total consolidated piece?
We're seeing more equipment, right? So, energy management systems, right? So IoT, really connected kitchen, making sure that ovens are off when they're not needed. Walk-in freezers aren't running at full blast at all times. The food tech, cultured meats, cell-based meats, not yet, right? I think a lot of those are still just trying to, raise money, gin up interest in the product. But I do see a world and a place in a space one day where that is incorporated and that is an element that is represented at the conference.
Well, that's true. So at the show itself, you have a lot of different educational sessions, but
Yeah.
you also have different things you mentioned IFBTA, but there are also other things that surround it. And within the portfolio of companies within Informa itself, you've
Yep.
already mentioned Technomic,
Yep.
and there's others. And how do what are, first of all, on the educational content side? How many sessions, are they tracks? How does that lay out?
Yeah. FSTech is a conference, right? So I would kind of classify there being three buckets of things that happen at FSTech. So the first is the trade show. So this is a trade show. There's about 12 hours of dedicated time where vendors and suppliers and partners and operators can walk the floor, discover new products, talk to new vendors. The second bucket is content, right? So we have main stage speakers, we have breakouts. Main stage is going to be comprised of CIOs, CTOs, CEOs, from both enterprise as well as emerging brands. And then the last component is obviously going to be networking. So there's cocktail parties, there's receptions, there's events. I think the IFBTA event is on Monday night. Is that correct?
Right.
Yes. So yeah, that's how I would really think about it is, those three main buckets of components. And the key with events is just be present, right? We know how busy life is. We know how busy work is. But while you are there, maximize your time on site. Go to the sessions, speak to the suppliers, speak to the sponsors, because the purpose of these is for you to come away with it with actionable insights, and motivation to try something new that can help your brand.
Absolutely. And, as far as the keynote speakers are concerned,
Yep.
what are the highlight speakers that you have?
Yeah, so we don't necessarily do the traditional RLC where we're going to have a Mark Wahlberg or a Gabby Thomas. We really want to get a little more technical at FS Tech. So there's going to be an exchange with the CTO and CEO of Qdoba around technology decision makings. Mark Hatch is going to be leading a Nest conversation with a couple of his members, like Kevin Bentley of Jollibee. There's obviously going to be a state of
IFBTA
the
board member.
Yep, as well as IPTA board member, great guy. We are going to be obviously providing a state of the industry with Technomic, so forecasting where we're at today, where we anticipate to be a year from now. And then we are also going to be doing a proprietary drive-through study with a team called InTouch Insights. They're a company that's based out of Canada. This is the second year that we've done it, and it's all around, speed of service, friendliness, all of the different metrics that make up a good quality drive-through experience. So yeah,
Actually did a podcast. I was on a podcast as a guest with them. We were a speaker. They were a speaker as
yep.
well in the convenience store industry. And
Yes, they do a
so
lot
we
in
did
convenience
something
store.
together on that one.
Yep. Cameron and his team are great. It's something that Robert
Yep.
Byrne, a principal from Technomic, is going to be co-presenting with him, and it's exciting. So it's a proprietary study that they're doing with Informa, exclusively accessible at FS Tech.
That's great. Well, listen, there's a lot going on. Are there any other highlights you want to share with us about Create or GRLC that people should know about as well?
Yeah, for Create, we have Kevin Bacon. He is in a bluegrass band called the Bacon Brothers. No, we're very excited. CEO
I saw that.
Yeah,
You have his brother too. Yeah,
Yes. No, we're incredibly excited as well as appreciative of the amazing agenda that has been put forth by Sam Okus and Emily Nordy Rogers on my content team. We're going to be starting off Create with a CEO of Kava. So on the front end, we're doing this thing called the Investment Summit, which is really about how do you raise private equity money? And what do you do with that private equity money? Do you want a franchise? So Matt Haller, the president and CEO of IFA,
the IFA.
is going to be doing, a session on is franchising right for you? And then all throughout the course of the event is going to be just great nuggets of information for those brands that are looking to go from 10 to 200 or 50 to 500. So yeah, very excited about Create. And then GRLC. I mean, this is a great event. Coca-Cola is a premier partner of ours. They bring in some of their largest customers, prospects to attend the event. Rob Lynch, CEO of Shake Shack, is going to be speaking. Barry McGowan, CEO of Fogo de Chao. So it's a very specific audience of people who are really looking to grow globally and share their insights on what works and what doesn't.
Well, it's going to certainly be a very packed and busy fall, and it sounds like by the time we hit October, well, by the time we hit the holidays,
December,
at the end
we
of
got to get to
November, you and
December.
I will be tired of seeing each other
No,
there. But
Ron, yeah, in
we'll
my
continue
business,
to have many conversations. So
yeah, no, in technology, they do development sprints. In events, we do event sprints. So
yeah, but they
starting
seem to be
September,
all year long.
yeah. So starting September 13th will be or September 14th will be a very large sprint for, not only just myself, but my team. I mean, we are putting on, I think, 9 events in 4 months, 3.5 months. So yeah, we're very excited. We're up for the task. Informa is all in on food service, and I think we're set up for a good fall.
All the way across the board. So again, FSTEC in Orlando at the Gaylord.
Yep.
And our dates are the 14th to 16th.
September 14th through the 16th, Gaylord, Nashville, the Omni, Nashville, Tennessee, October 15th through the 17th. And then GRLC is in Barcelona, Spain at the the Sail Loft one. And that's November 17th through the 19th.
All right, so you got all the dates, and of course they can go to the Informa Foodservice or the FSTech website, but they can find them all there to register, get information, and just be there and participate and get to meet and network with us. So there you go.
Yep, that's a very key point, Rob. If you are a qualified restaurant operator, so you work at a restaurant brand, you are responsible for procurement, you do not have to pay to attend these conferences and events. You are our guest. You are a guest of our sponsors. You are a guest of Informa. So please, we understand, T&E budgets are strained these days, but please come, participate, enjoy.
Well, Marcus Viscidi, as usual, a great conversation. I'm going to look forward to the next one in person.
Yep.
And Marcus is the head of sales for the events group within the food service side of Informa.
Yep.
And he's certainly got a busy plate, for all of us with actionable insights that are going to occur this fall, starting with FSTech going to Create and then GRLC. So Marcus, again, thank you for joining us. And thank you for being a great partner of the IFBTA, and we'll look forward to seeing you again very shortly.
Yeah, no, thank you, Rob. Love the IFBTA, love everything you're doing, and I can't wait to see both you and Lauren and the team in person.
This podcast is brought to you by the International Food and Beverage Technology Association. The IFBTA is the industry's voice of food service, hospitality, and retail technology, providing thought leadership as your single, impartial, and go-to resource. The IFBTA offers in-person and online communities to connect with your peers, the exchange, an all-encompassing global technology resource, and an industry-wide professional education and certification program. The bottom line is the IFBTA is your place to gather, learn, and share in conversations like the one we're having today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of TechBytes, powered by the IFBTA. I'm Rob Grimes, your host, and I look forward to taking our next bite of technology together.